Oric Consulting presents the Oracle Podcast with Anton Marshall. Hello and welcome to the Oracle Podcast. This is Anton Marshall. Today we're speaking to Louise Jupp out of Terrico Environmental. Louise, just once more very briefly for the audience, what is the business of Terrico Environmental?
Hello, Anton, first of all. We're an environmental consulting firm that provides a range of environmental management services and applications for permits and authorizations and such like, and also provides sort of environmental auditing for construction work in particular.
Fantastic. Now, the reason I wanted to speak to Louise was we picked up a story not too long ago, a very fascinating story about Costa Rica. And there was a story that was carried in Quartz magazine about the energy, or rather the energy consumption out there. The story basically said Costa Rica has been running without having to burn fossil fuels or a single fossil fuel for quite some time now. And we thought that this was quite remarkable. Wanted to speak to someone who knows more about in environmental issues and energy resourcing and this type of thing, and that's Louise. Louise, you've read the story. What are your thoughts?
I think it's very impressive that a country has been able to move away from fossil fuels for its energy. I get the impression from the article it's more related to the sort of power to supply, electricity, rather than driving vehicles and that kind of thing. But having said that, I think it's an amazing achievement. It's just interesting that they have a lot of factors in their favor to be able to do this that may make it difficult for other countries to achieve such an incredible benchmark, I suppose is the word. No, it's really quite impressive.
What are the factors that really work in their favor from what you've read?
Well, from what I've read is Costa Rica has a lot of water, which it's been using for hydropower. They've also got a geothermal element that they can rely on given their sort of position, geological sort of situation. And it also seems that they have quite a bit of solar and wind power as well. So they're sort of getting their energy supplies from a diverse range of sources.
And this, of course, needed to happen by way of somebody saying, here's something we can look into and here's something we can do. You're right, they do have a lot of rainfall from what I've read as well, but they've also invested in alternatives to that, like geothermal projects and things like that.
Correct. I don't think any country, maybe with the exception of Iceland because of its really sort of unique position, but I'm not really convinced that many countries can just focus on one renewable energy thing. I mean, the wind doesn't blow all the time. The sun doesn't shine all the time. It's easy to say, we must move away from fossil fuels, but it's not that easy to actually put it into practice because you've got to cover yourself for those days when it's not windy, when the sun doesn't shine, and everybody wants a cup of tea, and they sort of drain the energy that it's cold,
That being said, I mean, are there still lessons to be drawn from this type of thing? Even for South Africa, for one thing, we don't have that kind of rainfall that they were talking about. We do have a little bit of wind, I suppose, but looking at projects like these and at considerations like this, even for the work that Terrico does, surely there are some lessons to be drawn or maybe to observe from all this?
Yeah, I mean, I think one thing is it's to indicate it is actually possible. There's probably be a different formula that would come out of South Africa ultimately. Because I mean, another thing it said in that article is that Costa Rica has less than 5 million people, and also they don't spend money on defence. And I mean, defence is an extremely expensive aspect of any government. So I'm not sure. I mean, I know there's a lot of wind farms going up in the Eastern Cape at the moment, and I know everybody now is getting solar panels. I mean, we can all moan about Eskom and what's been going on recently with all the load shedding, but I mean, it's forced the issue of people supplying themselves, even if it's on an independent level rather than a body providing electricity, somebody separate to Eskom. So I think it's kind of interesting that we've had our hand forced by the situation with Eskom, and kind of shows that, you really can have an impact at the individual level in this particular case. But I'm not sure on the sort of bigger scale. I don't know what South Africa's ultimate program is. There is definitely a push for renewable energies, and I know the Eastern Cape were really trying to sell themselves a couple of years ago with a green energy conference. I'm intrigued as to where it can go, because we do get a lot of sun here, but we don't get a lot of water. I don't know if we've got any geothermal options. Wind is a big issue, but that's only two. I mean, wave power, if we could, they're still trying to work on harnessing wave power. You can imagine off the Wild Coast the kind of energy that would be generated there. So I don't know what South Africa is doing, but I know Europe have done some serious studies on wave power. And if that can be another target for South Africa, then why not? That could be a fantastic source.
Let's hope that innovation, or rather that demand, will drive innovation in South Africa. Louise Jupp of Terrica, thanks very much for your time today. Really appreciate your input.
Sure, my pleasure. Thank you.
You have been listening to the Oracle podcast, brought to you by Ore Consulting, www.oreconsulting.co.za.